Hi, my name is Allie Flannery, along with my teammates Olivia Bahovitz, Mia Harrant, and Carmen Connolly, and we are the Economic Research Team. Today, we are going to be talking about the history of trade surpluses and deficits of the United States.
This illustration shows the difference between a deficit and a surplus when it comes to trade. In a deficit, the country's going to be importing more than it exports, meaning it's spending more money getting things from other countries than it's making money from selling things to other countries. In a surplus, it's going to be the opposite, where they're making a lot of money from exports, but they're not spending a lot of money on imports, so they're going to be making a positive amount of money.
This slide shows the biggest trade surplus in United States history, and the countries listed are Hong Kong, Netherlands, Australia, UAE, Belgium, Brazil, and Panama. And these are the countries that are connected to the United States with this trade. And that picture to the right shows in billions of dollars how much each country benefits from these trade surpluses. And you can tell China is the biggest one, and it just shows how much these trades benefit each country.
All right, so the US has been in a consistent trade deficit ever since 1976, and this is mostly due to the high imports of oil and consumer products. And then this image on the left is going to show the US trade balances in billions of dollars, and the red is going to represent the negative, and then the green is going to be the positive. So as you can see, the negative trade balances include China, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Ireland, and then China accounts for over 50% of the overall balance. So China is a big deficit that we have. And then this is just about the positive trade balances, which is going to mean that we are in a surplus. And currently, we're in surpluses with Hong Kong, Netherlands, Belgium, Australia, and Singapore. But these surpluses are clearly much less than the deficits we are in.
Looking at the so-called losers and winners of trade, you can see China, Southeast Asia, and India are considered to be more of the more successful groups in trade when it comes to importing and exporting goods, and Argentina and South Africa on the loser side of the trade world. So ways we can fix it is said to be that the root of the problem is high tariffs, and after Trump's idea failed, it's negotiated that better access to the Chinese market can help reduce the deficit, according to some economists.
As of August 2020, the trade deficit reached the highest it has been in 14 years. The gap between goods and services imported versus exported in the US has risen 5.7%, which translates to about a difference of $67.1 billion. The monthly international trade deficit increased from $62.1 billion in September to $63.1 billion in October. The goods deficit increased by $0.6 billion in October to $81.4 billion. The services surplus decreased $0.4 billion in October to $18.3 billion.
As stated in the previous slide, in August, we reached the highest trade deficit since 14 years. And since we're spending all this money, it needs to come from somewhere because we don't have an unlimited budget. So this excess spending on money must be financed through borrowing from foreign lenders. So this could also mean receiving foreign investments in US assets and businesses. So right now we're relying on other countries to help finance this excess spending, which could be negative just because we're accumulating more debt than we need. And then although we are in a big deficit right now, in trade services such as banking and education, the US is actually very successful and has had a surplus of $16.8 billion as of this year. So that's a positive, but it's still not large enough to fix the deficit. So in the current conditions of the United States, it's not surprising that this coronavirus pandemic has affected the economy, and it's affected the economy of people and businesses across the world, not just in the US. Something that has been impacted is certain countries have been able to bounce back quicker, such as the US. So we have the money to spend on buying imports, but other countries can't get imports from us. So we're not having as many people buying products from us, which is going to drastically shift the consumer products that we send out.
Like Carmen just stated before, these countries have the hardest hit by Russia's trade ban, and Russia's trade ban is similar to the US's trade ban. It just shuts out all countries from importing or exporting goods. And this just shows how much each country is losing from this trade ban. And you can see that the United States is losing $688.25 million of dollars. And this just shows that coronavirus really impacted the trade deficit.
And overall, we don't have a set plan to fix our deficit in the United States, but there have been many plans made by Donald Trump, but everyone is arguing on whether it'll be successful or not.